Fubara's impeachment. Wike maintains silence, stakeholders pressure lawmakers to halt move. Uneasy calm reigned in Rivers State yesterday, as the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Abuja Minister, Mr. Nyesom Wike maintained a loud silence as stakeholders weighed in to resolve the reignited political crisis following Thursday's commencement of impeachment proceedings against Governor Siminalayi Fubara and Deputy Governor Ngozi Odu by the House of Assembly. The Pan-Niger Delta Elders Forum, PANDEF, the apex socio-political body of the South-South geopolitical zone, was among the critical stakeholders that have waded into the matter. PANDEF, in a statement yesterday, condemned the impeachment process against Fubara and called on all parties involved in the resurgent political imbroglio to urgently sheath their swords and embrace peace, guided by the principles of give and take, dialogue, tolerance, and political equanimity. It also established a 7-member reconciliation committee, chaired by Chief Konu Agabi, SAN, to mediate in the matter. Also, the International Society for Social Justice and Human Rights, ISSJHR, condemned the impeachment move, warning the legislators not to take the patience of the people of the state as weakness. Meanwhile, the official silence of the national leadership of the APC on the unfolding crisis appears to be creating tension in the polity. As of Friday, neither the Professor Nentor Yilwat-led National Working Committee, NWC, nor the Tony Okocha-led Rivers Executive recognized by the party in Rivers State had issued any official response to the impeachment move, heightening speculations over the party's internal position on the matter. However, the dissolved Emeka Beek-led State Executive Committee of the APC, which has been locked in a prolonged leadership tussle with the Okocha faction, broke ranks to call on the NWC to urgently intervene and broker a political solution to the escalating tension in the state. Uneasy calm in Port Harcourt. The city of Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital, was relatively quiet yesterday amid the brewing political tension. Residents of the city were seen going about their normal businesses, with some who cared about the development in the state blaming the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Mr. Nyesom Wike, as the architect of the crisis. Indeed, Wike, who shunned comment on the impeachment proceedings, appeared sober when his thank you train landed in Andoni LGA of the state yesterday. Very much unlike him, the minister, who did not spend more than 5 minutes addressing the huge crowd that came out to welcome him, was looking very reserved. Prior to the latest impeachment threat by the lawmakers who are largely his loyalists, Wike, who was always seen dancing, singing and using the platform to criticize Fubara, appeared reserved and sober in his comments yesterday and did not speak publicly on the impeachment move. Indeed, sources said yesterday that the presidency and APC leaders had resolved to save the governor once again. Recent comments of the National Secretary of the APC, Senator Ajibola Bazayaru, National Security Advisor, Malam Nu Rabadu, commending Fubara and recognizing him as leader of the party in Rivers, sources said capture the mood of critical power brokers in the presidency. Those said to be favorably disposed to Fubara include IMO State Governor and Chairman of the APC Governors Forum, Senator Hope Uzodimma, and Transport Minister, Senator Dave Umahi. PANDEF wades in. In a statement is signed by the co-chairman, Board of Trustees, Bot. King Alfred Diet Spiff, Amanyanabo of Tuna Brass, former Governor of Akwa Ibom State and co-chairman Bot. Obong Victor Attar, and National Chairman, Ambassador Godno Zigali. PANDEF commended President Tinubu, the leadership of the APC, respected elders of Rivers State, and other well-meaning Nigerians for their previous and ongoing efforts aimed at restoring peace and stability in Rivers State. However, it said that the situation in the state was a deeply disturbing one that demands urgent attention in order to forestall further escalation and breakdown of law and order. As part of moves to nip the Rivers State crisis in the bud and to ensure that peace returns to the state, PANDEF constituted a high-level team of eminent Nigerians to intervene in the matter. The Reconciliatory Committee, which is chaired by former Attorney General of the Federation, Chief Konu Agabi, SAN, has Senator Oban Domingo, who represented Edo North in the Senate, as Vice Chairman, former Minister of Housing, Chief Essien Nduiz, retired Federal Permanent Secretary, Dr. Timibi Koripano Agari as members. Other members are retired Director, Department of State Service, DSS, Chief Mike Ejiofor, former Attorney General, Cross River State, Mrs. Nella Rabana-Andem, SAN, and Deputy National Secretary, PANDEF, Prince Godwin Okati as Secretary. The statement read in part, the Board and National Executive Committee of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, PANDEF, the apex socio-political body representing the people of the South-South geopolitical zone, notes with very grave concern the recent spate of political developments in Rivers State. Regrettably, these developments have now degenerated into the decision of the Rivers State House of Assembly to commence impeachment proceedings against the governor of the state and the deputy governor. This is a deeply disturbing situation that demands urgent attention in order to forestall further escalation and breakdown of law and order. This concern is heightened by the critical importance and strategic centrality of Rivers State to the Niger Delta region and to the broader socio-political stability and economic well-being of Nigeria as a whole. In keeping with its non-partisan posture and its overarching role as a unifying and motherly platform for the region, PANDEF calls on all parties involved in the resurgent political imbroglio to sheathe the sword and embrace peace, guided by the principles of give and take, dialogue, tolerance, and political equanimity. All stakeholders must place paramount importance on peace, development, and the welfare of the people of Rivers State, as well as the interests of other citizens of the South-South, Nigerians at large, and the sizable expatriate community resident in the state. We must now focus squarely on good governance and development of the state. PANDEF commends President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, the leadership of the All Progressives Congress, APC, respected elders of Rivers State, and other well-meaning Nigerians for their previous and ongoing efforts aimed at restoring peace and stability in the state. PANDEF calls on all parties to fully cooperate with this distinguished and highly respected team of senior Nigerians and sons and daughters of the South-South zone, as they selflessly commit their time and experience to this arduous assignment, with the objective of achieving a peaceful, fair, and sustainable resolution through a dispassionate and inclusive process. Sarge, CLO kick against impeachment move. Also, Chief Anab Sarge called on the president to save Rivers State from unnecessary tension arising from the third attempt by the lawmakers to remove Governor Fubara and his deputy, Odu, from office. Recall that in October 2023, barely a few months after he was sworn into office as governor, Fubara escaped his first impeachment scare by the whiskers. The second was in 2025, followed by that of last Thursday, January 8, 2026. Sarge said that the insecurity situation in the country was bad enough for everybody to worry about rather than battling with an avoidable political crisis in Rivers State orchestrated by the FCT minister. His words, if President Tinubu desires victory in Rivers State in 2027 and the Niger Delta as a whole, he should call Wike to order. Wike and the lawmakers should withdraw the impeachment proceedings and allow Fubara to concentrate on his assignment of rendering services to the state. The former security advisor to Rivers State government wondered why the lawmakers couldn't deploy the internal mechanisms of the APC to resolve the misunderstanding between them and the governor as members of the same political party rather than resort to impeachment threat. In like manner, the Civil Liberties Organization, CLO, Rivers State chapter said Nigerians were deeply concerned that the ongoing political tensions in Rivers State has created a fragile environment in which constitutional procedures may be perceived rightly or wrongly as instruments of political conflict rather than democratic oversight. Rivers State chairman of CLO, Comrade Sunny Dada, warned that Rivers State must not be sacrificed on the altar of political power struggles, adding that the state is a critical economic and strategic hub to the rest of the world. Actions that risk governance paralysis, civil unrest, or erosion of public trust must be avoided. Political actors must remember that constitutional institutions exist to serve the people and not factional interests. The rights activist advised that Rivers State House of Assembly, the executive arm of government, political actors, and security agencies must exercise restraint, uphold constitutionalism, and prioritize dialogue over confrontation. He called on the governor to explore all options that could lead to dialogue and smooth executive-legislative relationships. Such efforts should begin with the presentation of the 2026 appropriation bill to the lawmakers for legislative action. Dada believes that any impeachment process conducted in bad faith, haste, or secrecy will lack legitimacy and invite judicial and public repudiation, stating that if the lawmakers must carry out the impeachment, then the governor must be afforded full constitutional protections, including proper service of allegations, adequate time to respond, and an impartial investigative panel. Anything short of this constitutes a violation of democratic rights and legislative overreach. Don't take patience of Rivers people for weakness, ISSJHR tells lawmakers. On its part, the International Society for Social Justice and Human Rights, ISSJHR, condemned the commencement of impeachment proceedings against Fubara and Odu, warning the legislators not to take the patience of Rivers people as weakness. ISSJHR also told the lawmakers that the governor and his deputy cannot be coerced or intimidated into acting against the interest of the people of the state. The chancellor of the institution, Omonazu Jackson, in a statement in Port Harcourt, said the move by the legislative arm of the state is anti-democratic, constitutionally reckless, and a clear abuse of legislative powers. Jackson said impeachment is not a political weapon, rather a constitutional process that is strictly regulated by laws, especially Section 188 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. Stating that issues of gross misconduct as alleged must be presented with adequate proof. He said, the Constitution requires clear allegations of gross misconduct, due process, fair hearing, legislative quorum, judicial panel investigation, and strict procedural compliance. Any deviation renders such impeachment null, void, and unconstitutional. APC leadership silent as dissolved Rivers Exco seeks NWC intervention. Amid the silence of the APC hierarchy, the dissolved Emeka Beek-led State Executive Committee of the APC, which has been locked in a prolonged leadership tussle with the Okocha faction, has called on the NWC to urgently intervene and broker a political solution to the escalating tension in the state. The leadership crisis within the Rivers APC predates the current impeachment controversy. On November 22, 2023, the party's NWC appointed Tony Okocha as chairman of a 7-member caretaker committee following the suspension of Emeka Beek earlier in April 2023 over alleged anti-party activities and financial misconduct. The suspension was subsequently extended to dissolve the entire state working committee. On November 29, 2024, a state congress organized by the party formally elected Okocha as substantive chairman of the Rivers APC. Despite this, the Beek-led executive continued to contest the legitimacy of the process and pursued legal redress to reclaim control of the party structure. To clarify the party's position, the APC-NWC on August 3, 2025, explicitly warned members of the public and stakeholders that only the Okocha-led executive represented the party's interests in Rivers State. In a statement, the party's national publicity secretary, Felix Morka, dismissed Beek's claims to the chairmanship as false and misleading. The attention of the All Progressives Congress APC has been drawn to media reports of a claim by Mr. Emeka Beek to the chairmanship of the Rivers State chapter of our party. We wish to clarify, for the record, that Chief Tony Okocha is, and remains, the chairman of the Rivers State chapter of our party, Morka said. He added, we urge our teaming members in the state, and the general public, to disregard the said reports or reference to Mr. Beek as state chairman of Rivers APC as false and misleading. The internal schism deepened further on December 12, 2025, when Governor Fubara formally registered his membership with the APC faction aligned to the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. The governor was presented with his APC membership card at Government House by the Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo, San, alongside Okocha, and was also decorated with the party's insignia. Beek Group seeks NWC's intervention. Despite its lack of official recognition, the Beek-led executive has appealed to the national leadership of the party to step in. Speaking in an interview on Friday, the group's spokesman, Darlington Nwauju, expressed confidence in the capacity of the NWC to manage the crisis. Appearing on the Arise television breakfast program monitored in Abuja on Friday, Nwauju said, let me assure you that the current leadership of the All Progressives Congress in Nigeria under Professor Nentor Yilwata and Senator Ajibola Bazairu have the capacity, because all policy statements, directions, and directives of the party flow from the National Secretariat of our great party. He continued, I want to assure the public, Rivers people in particular, that our political party under the firm leadership of Professor Nentor and Senator Bazairu has the capacity, competence and experience to deal with the current situation. Nwauju cautioned against hasty disciplinary actions, noting that, we have disciplinary procedures. We will not delve into the realms of having anybody disciplined until and when it is very clearly obvious to us that there is an attempt to destabilize our political party. The APC spokesman dismissed the legitimacy of the Okocha-led executive, insisting that the Beek faction remains the lawful leadership pending the outcome of court cases. According to him, on August 12, 2024, there was a decision by a state high court which reinstated and nullified the decision to dissolve validated elected executives of our party. In November 2024, another high court again nullified the congresses that purportedly produced Mr. Tony Okocha as chairman of the APC. As we speak today, the matter is before the Court of Appeal, Port Harcourt Division, and has not been dispensed with. And so, I laugh at those who refer to our party as factionalized, given the fact that there is a legally recognized executive of the party led by Emeka Beek, Nwauju said. He also dismissed speculations that his faction was acting at the behest of Governor Fubara, insisting that the party's constitution was clear on leadership structure. Before now, we had a standard bearer for the APC, Pastor Tony Cole, and until you go into another election cycle and elect a new standard bearer, that standard bearer remains the leader of the party. Fortunately, the governor of Rivers State joined the APC, and our constitution allows the party to recognize the sitting governor as leader of our political party. The moment the governor consummated his membership of the APC, he automatically became leader of our party. There are no ambiguities, he said. Nwauju declined to comment on the influence of Wike in Rivers politics, stressing that his focus was solely on the APC and its electoral fortunes. My interest is that the APC turns itself into a winning machine in Rivers State and wins elections come 2027, he said. I am not interested in non-APC members. I have no business discussing such an individual. I am sorry, I cannot offer any opinions about him.